Right.
Well, let's get this going.
Let's get this going. Okay, so hello, I'm Nick,
My name is Blaze.
and we're Nick and Blaze, and we're gonna try out something new today. This is gonna be the first episode, and hopefully many.
Of Peace and AI.
Peace and AI. So why peace and AI? What are we talking about? Who wants to even talk about this? I think the key thing from my point of view is AI is one of the most transformative technologies really of our generation and probably our species, and it's going to evolve very fast and move very fast. So what does that mean for us, for humans? How do we make sure that we live in peace with ourselves and with AI?
Especially with the time that it's going to bring us.
The time, yes, the time is big.
That's why we're merging these two things here.
Yeah. Why is time? Why is time a big thing?
Well, the amount of work that you can get done has exponentially increased over the last couple months.
Yeah.
Like even in the last month or so, with the new releases of the Cowork and Google Workspace, there's a lot more free time that you could potentially have if you choose to have it, and how you spend that time we think is quite important, and ensuring that you are caught up and up to date with this technology so you have that extra time we think is quite important. So we're really just two friends that are
Yeah, we're just
going through
shooting the
this.
shit. Okay. Okay, so who are we?
Yeah, go for it.
You want me to go first?
Yeah.
Okay, so as I said, my name is Nick. I actually started out as a medical doctor. I went to med school, and I was going to be a medical doctor, like a family doctor or emergency doctor. And this was back in 2015. I started really learning about AI and just diving into the interesting world of machine learning and AI. And I got um, so inspired by what the technology could do in healthcare, specifically for patient care and for us actually better understanding like how hospitals work, how hospitals operate, how we help patients, that I ended up not doing medical practice and building a healthcare startup after med school. So this was in 2019. And my vision with that was to start to use machine learning and AI to help us analyze our clinical data for hospitals. So a lot of hospitals had lots and lots of data that they would not know how to best use for patient care, and the doctors would get very overwhelmed by how much information there was. And so AI for me was a way for us to make better sense of this information and to ultimately help people make better decisions in hospitals, understand the data, and then customize the patient care to the experience at the end of the day. So I did that startup for 4 or 5 years, and it was very successful. And we worked with a lot of hospitals all over North America. We built out a large team, and I never ended up going back to medical practice, and I just focused on really just AI. And in the last 2 years, I've been kind of in a transition phase where I've been really thinking about what can we do, specifically me as a doctor that's been trained to help and heal people, but also as somebody that's more technical, that understands AI and understands how it works and where it might evolve. What can I do to help the most amount of people with this technology and with my experience? And that's what I'm passionate about now. So I'll leave it at that. Blaze.
Good intro.
Yeah.
My name is Blaze Servik. I'm a software engineer by trade, but I'm in enterprise AI sales now. So I've seen everything from the build phase or MVP phase, 0 to 1, all the way through to how enterprises are deploying this today. So as I mentioned, I do come from a software engineering background. I was part of Y Combinator S21. I'd done my kind of stint as a startup founder. I consider myself more of an opportunist than specifically just an AI guy. But I have taken a dive into this technology because I love building apps. It's something that I've always done since university. And the amount of work that I can get done now, and the amount of like the amount of code you can write now is insane, and the quality of it keeps getting better. So being able to take ideas and put them into something real, that's something that really excites me. And now that I'm working and we have access to all of this technology, I'm finding myself at almost a crossroads as well, or a transition phase, and I think like the whole world is basically going through this.
Yeah.
Where like we have time to spend on things that we get to decide on what to do. So being able to work smart and use this technology well is something that I've taken very seriously, and I think I do quite well. So now being able to take the free time I have and turn it into something that I both feel is productive and also good for myself and good for my mental health. So that's a little bit about me.
Preach. Yeah, no, I think like first of all, like how did Blaze and I meet, and like what's our story? I think that's important. First of all, we're roommates, so we live together. This is our house, I guess, in Toronto. It's pretty nice. It's snowing like crazy. I don't know if you guys can see it now, but basically what Blaze and I do is like I go off and I'm building stuff. He goes off, he's building stuff. He works at Cohere, which is one of the largest AI Canadian companies, like similar to Anthropic and ChatGPT, but focused on enterprise and kind of like more on the business side of AI. And then I also just work for myself now after having left my last company. So me and Blaze are deep in the AI, I guess, evolution or acceleration or what you might call it. And then we just get together every weekend. We go to the sauna, we chill out, and then we talk about AI. And then we have just interesting conversations most of the time. And we're just like, and then like sometimes like people jump in and they're like, holy shit, is this really what's going on? And we're like, yeah, this is actually what's going on. You need to be aware of this. So that's partly why we're doing this. And really there's not going to be a structure. It's not going to be like a Lex Friedman podcast where like there's a structured interview every single time. We might do interviews. We might just shoot the shit. We might like do some crazy stuff. I don't know. Like it's just whatever comes to mind is what we're gonna do. Mm-hmm. And like that's at least what's important for me. I don't know, Blaze, if you have anything to add to that.
And we're watching a lot of the same things. We, like Nick said, we're keeping up with this technology like on the day to day, and because we kind of spend our week apart, we always come back with, I guess, slightly different perspectives on the same thing. So that's really what drives a lot of our conversation.
Yeah. So I guess maybe a question for you, Blaze. Why peace and AI? Like, what is this connection between peace and AI? Like, everybody talks about AI. There's all these podcasts, all the news of like ChatGPT is just doing this, Claude Code's able to do this. Like, people are just gonna get automated away. So where does the peace? Like, why is peace and AI a thing? Like, why is that an important intersection for us to talk about?
Well, I think it starts with, like, regardless who you believe, this technology will have a huge impact on society. And if you listen to the Musks of the world and such, they're almost like doomsday advocates where they're saying like nobody's gonna work and currency is gonna be nothing.
Musk has like recently shifted to sustainable abundance, which is I think a good optimistic viewpoint. I will stop you there.
Regardless of how you say it, though, it basically means that humans will have significantly more free time. Work will be like significantly less important in their day-to-day lives, especially for like the average person. Like there's always going to be room for people that want to like kind of go above and beyond and be workaholics.
Okay, but I'll play devil's advocate now.
Yeah, shoot.
For a little bit. Like, we haven't felt that yet. Like, I think the average person has not found infinite free time or abundance yet.
Totally.
And they're still the chaos of the world. There's still this massive amount of change that's happening in geopolitics, in technology, in society, whatever. It's always been happening. It's like human society just continuously evolving. What does it mean for the person now? Like the person now that doesn't really know how to use AI, or maybe just is using AI, but is still working like full time.
Well, let me ask you a question. When you're doing your work, what percentage of the time that you consider working are you not doing something because you're waiting for the model to respond?
Honestly, I've gotten it to a place where it's very minimal now. Like
Mhm.
I've got four of these AIs just like spun up on my computer, and they're each doing something different. And then when one's done, the other one's working. And when the other one's working, there's another one that's done. And then I just flip between them, and then I orchestrate them. I'm just like basically it's like running a startup. Like this is not any different
Mhm.
in my head from how it was or how it felt like to run an early stage startup where I had people and they were each doing different things, and I had to give feedback in various ways to people and manage the team, manage the culture. There's less managing culture and emotions with AI, but a lot of the same principles of managing teams start to apply, and that's kind of how my work has shifted. So now I have a lot more free time, but I think where my question was coming from is like I don't think most people are in that same situation at the end of the day.
Mhm.
Right. Would you agree with me?
I agree with that. Yeah,
Okay. Okay.
but I do think it's coming, and that's
Okay, it's coming.
yeah.
We agree on it's coming. I think part of the overwhelm I even feel, or why I'm bringing this point up, is like even for me as somebody that's deep in AIs, if I open up Twitter or if I open up YouTube, every single day there's like 15 different videos or articles about things that are being released, new things that you could do with AI, new tools. I literally like have planned like a bunch of upgrades to my Claude Code, which is one of the most powerful AI agents. And in 2 days, like 50, 60% of my upgrades were already being implemented by Claude, Claude itself, and then other open source tools. So this gives you an idea of the velocity of the space and just like the pure amount of overwhelm that even somebody like me, and I'm sure you, if you're watching this and you're deep into AI or even just like on the periphery, everybody's feeling overwhelmed. Like I don't
Mhm.
think this is just like an easy thing to kind of like take in.
Like keeping up with the tech is almost a full-time job in itself.
Yeah. So that's kind of partly what we want to do here is like one of the key things that we want to get across to you guys is what actually matters. Like what's the noise, what's the signal with what's happening with AI? Like right now we could tell you pretty straight up Claude Code has exponentially improved in its ability to do digital tasks, including coding, in the last 4 months. And that's only going to get better. It's very early. So, the number one key takeaway right now, if you're watching this, is get good at Claude Code or other CLI coding agents. And if you don't, like the ultimate reality of the situation, I hate to be a fearmonger, is you're just going to fall behind if you're a coder, if you're doing any sort of digital task, even if you're a social media marketer, like anything that requires you to do a computer,
Mhm.
something like Claude Code will make you significantly more productive at that thing and will free up your time right now.
And,
So,
and maybe for
yeah.
the non-technical people or the non-coding people watching, what is Claude Code?
So, Claude Code, let's take a step back. There's a lot of big companies. Everybody knows ChatGPT, right?
Hmm.
You go on your phone, you talk to a ChatGPT like a conversation. You can talk to it about anything. It's like, what do I do for my vacation? I'm feeling sad. You know, anything you want to ask it, you just type in. That's called a conversational like chatbot. And Claude Code is conversational. It's technically a chatbot, but it lives in your computer. And the difference with that might seem like it's nothing. Like, okay, it's still a chatbot. It lives in my computer, so what? But that actually makes it like significantly more powerful of an AI because basically anything that you do on your computer, like any app you pull up, anything that you want to do, like update your to-do list, check your email, build some code, record a video, like talk, like basically like anything that you're doing on your computer, you can now talk to something like Claude Code
Hmm.
in a conversational format, like you're having a conversation with ChatGPT, and it will just do it on your computer and it can do some very sophisticated things like build entire code bases. It can build you entire applications. It can create and direct videos for you. It can do pretty much anything on a computer. Some of the things it's going to struggle with now, but this is literally like month 3 of it being on superpower mode, and it's only going to get better.
And maybe we even start with like what CLI tool is, because that's like
Yeah.
for the non-tech people, that's really what this is there's going to be lots of companies building tools that are considered like CLI tools.
Yeah.
And the CLI just stands for like command line interface, which is just the original computer. Like before there were mouse and keyboards and interfaces, there was a black screen with some text on it that you could basically
Called the terminal.
The terminal.
If you've ever heard of the terminal, it's the terminal. It's the terminal interface.
And on the terminal, you could do everything if you memorize all the commands. But the problem is as a human, our brains aren't really good at memorizing all those commands. So then, like innovative people created interfaces that we use all day that make it easier for humans to use it. But one of the benefits of the model is you can kind of provide it all of the different commands in nice package skills and in formats that make it so they can use them all, which basically gives them like very, very optimized and efficient access to do anything on your computer, from like building a code base like Nick said, but even to like building a Word document or a PowerPoint or working with an Excel file. Like all of these different things are
Even managing all of your relationships. Like let's say you have 15, 20 friends, you got your family, you got all their birthdays, you got like special things you want to remind yourself about, like, and you got like all these texts coming in and you're constantly on your phone. Like I don't know about you, but I get overwhelmed by like all of that stuff. I want a simple process to help me. You can get Claude Code to do that.
Yeah. So even though it's called code, it really just means that it lives inside of your terminal, which means it has direct access to your whole entire computer. And even though the actual computation is happening on the cloud, all of the work it's doing is happening locally on your computer within files.
Yes. And if you're worried about security, like this is a big point. If you're worried about security and data safety and like, holy crap, I'm giving this thing my computer access, you should be worried. We're not going to sugarcoat that. At the end of the day, there are a lot of safeguards and things that you can do to make it operate much more effectively. And if you're worried about third-party AI, like companies and sending your data to that provider, you should also be worried. I'm not going to say no. But over time, these things will become more open source, more privatized, and like the trend will go down that road. So now, actually, like if you're getting inspired by what we're saying and are trying this out, like always remain skeptical. Don't just give it everything on your computer, all of your sensitive data. Like just exercise common sense. At the end of the day, treat it like any other software product that you're using, and but come in with an open mind about what it can do for you.
Yeah, and I think they're also becoming kind of like the big cloud providers, and even Google has like a decent CLI tool, and I'm sure it will continue to improve and become one of the best. And Google already has all my emails and my files, so I'm not as concerned about giving it additional access, especially if that means it gets better at the things that I would like it to get better at. So I have a slightly different perspective. I'm not as worried. But
No, I trust like the technology companies to a certain degree, but at the end of the day, we also have to understand what their incentives are. So their incentives are to keep you on their platform, to get you to give more data to them, and then if they have an advertising model, to sell ads to you. So you just have to understand these things and the reality of what that means when you're giving sensitive data to technology companies. But that's a tangent.
yeah, that's a little bit of a tangent. Let's pull it back to the peace thing, because I don't even think we really answered that. But
so we didn't answer the peace component. So
in a world where like a lot of your work can be done, like we said, it's not necessarily right now, but something that we believe in a lot of the major providers and technology leaders of the world are aligned on, is that like there will be a time in the near-ish future where like a lot of the work that we do day to day will be like highly automatable, and getting highly proficient at these tools is really important, because you become like a high value like real person inside of a company. But it also means that like everything from our our social medias even today are so highly tailored towards ourselves, but this will only continue to happen, where like For You pages become even more tied into exactly our thoughts, because now instead of just having our watch history, they also have our conversation history. So like all of this means that like companies will continue to do the things that they're incentivized. They're actually legally obligated to, because a lot of them are public.
It's rational under the like constraints of like what they're trying to do, which is like build a company as big as possible.
So what this means is we're going to be consistently flooded with content, information, things that are trying to like occupy our brain space,
Yes.
get us to click and buy things. And this is a very, very non-typical thing that humans have only been exposed to for call it 15 years. Like even 15 years is crazy to say.
Yeah, when I was in grade 8 or grade 7, like I got my first phone in grade 8. So like from the time between grade 1 and grade 8, I didn't have technology. Like I just had cable TV and like 5 channels and like that's it. So, and then the shift happened at the end of the day. And our brains are not evolved really, if we want to look at it from an evolutionary point of view. We're not evolved for this level of stimulation from technology. Like your reward pathways, your dopamine system. Everybody talks about dopamine, but like I will talk about this a lot. They can get short circuited very fast if you're always on social media, if you're always on the computer. So for me, what peace means, I'll add to what you're saying, is not only do we both believe in like a future where we're going to have more abundance for everybody. I think that will come. And for a lot of people now, even if you're watching this, you might be skeptical. You might be like, I don't feel it. I'm still grinding away. I still like have to do a shit ton of work that I don't want to do.
Same with us.
And we do too. But we're just looking, we're zooming out. We're just trying to look at the next 10, 20 years, whatever it might be. But I think where peace is important for everybody now is this age of technology has evolved so fast. Like that's one of the key things in my mind is our brains are not designed to operate in the realm of social media, in the realm of digital work, in the realm of like constantly being stimulated by information. And that really destabilizes your peace at the end of the day. At least for me.
And working hard and grinding at a job and doing like almost like a repetitive task, that in itself is a more mundane, non-stimulating environment.
Yeah.
And those are the types of things that are going away.
Yeah.
So what it does is it leaves a lot of space for us to focus on things that are not good for our mental health. For example, like a short-term content or like an infinite scroll on YouTube, or basically keeping yourself constantly distracted and stimulated by like
And it's not just technology. Like I think in general, like there's a lot of potential distractions that might be hijacking your brain, like food. Porn is another big one.
Yeah.
Like there's a lot of things that have been designed in our society, and I might be extreme in saying this, but like if you look at the incentives of those companies, they're designed in a way to destabilize your inner peace so that you give more and more of your attention and your time or your money to those activities. So that's why for me at least, like finding some peace in all of this chaos of technology, of evolving AI, with this grand vision of like some sustainable abundance that's coming, I think it's one of the most important things that we all can be doing to make this transition and to adapt to our current world, but also the world that is going to come that we kind of just have to accept.
And I think the scariest part is that like in the past, it's like there's been things that humans like should do, and everybody knows. Like for example, like working out is like such an obvious like
everybody tells you to work out, but it's hard.
Physical exercise, but it's hard and it takes time, and for that reason, there's a lot of people that don't do it.
Yeah.
But in a world where there's even more free time, or there's more ability for you to kind of do things that you want to do, it's so important to train your brain to do things that are good for you rather than fall into the trap of doing things that are bad for you. And even one of the things that we were talking about yesterday around like just being hot and cold, one of the things that like I've struggled with, and I know that you've shared that you've struggled with as well, is like basically like feeling like this isn't good enough, or like constantly needing more stimulation,
and more stimulation,
because this is what the world is doing to us.
It's just by design. Like when you live in an environment where you constantly need stimulation to feel something, it's never going to be enough. But when you remove all of the stimulation, anything will be enough. Like I will give you guys a story. Recently, I went on a 10-day silent meditation retreat in the jungles of Bali. And I've told Blaze about this a lot. I've told everybody about this a lot because it was genuinely like life-changing from the point of view of like you go there For 10 days, they take your phone away. You can't talk to people. You eat like whole healthy foods. You wake up at 4:30, you sit there and you do nothing but meditate for 10 hours. And you know what that does to you? It's very painful and it sucks, but it completely removes all stimulation from your life. And I literally got to the point on like day 5 where I would go outside in between hour 2 and hour 3 of my meditation. We get a 5-minute break to walk outside in nature, and that was the best dopamine hit of my last like 5 years of life. And that's like, you don't need anything more than that. And that made me realize that like feeling that experience, like being out in the sun for 5 minutes after just meditating for 10 hours, not having my phone, not having like distractions. You don't really need much to have some of the most wholesome, authentic experiences of your life, but the structure and the environment that we all live in make it very difficult. And I struggle with it. I struggled with it when I got back. Blaze struggles with it. Everybody in my life struggles with it, which is why we want to make this podcast at the end of the day. There's this tension between this really fastly accelerating technology that's going to hopefully make things better, but also the current reality of our technology-driven world that is kind of hijacking our minds. And that's what we want to help you guys with.
Or
and
just share our experience. Really.
And just share our experience. And also, like, this is also for us because I struggle with this all the time.
And that what you did is definitely an extreme, yes. Right? Like a 10-day silent retreat. We understand that's not like necessarily.
But Blaze didn't do a 10-day silent retreat. I came back. I was like, Blaze, look, this is what I did. And like, let's start doing some meditations, and then you can tell them about your experience. Like, you didn't do 10 days.
It's been very interesting. Like, start like meditating for the last like I guess couple weeks, and one of the things that like we had touched on just now is like this hot and cold piece, and how like in a world where like at all points of the day you can be like flooding your brain with like something that is like perfectly designed for you and like has lots of colors and like interesting sound. It's like all of our monkey brains are just like it loves it. It's awesome, right? Like it makes you feel good. But the problem is you do that the whole time. It's like if you're in a sauna and you pour like warm water on yourself, it's not gonna feel warm. But like
if you're swimming in water, like you're not gonna feel wet.
Yes, and if it's cold and you come in from the outside and you put your hands under the warm water,
that's the best feeling in the world.
It feels amazing, right? And like that I think is like a really like accurate statement of what this does. Is like I've been doing now like hour meditations, like no movement, and we should probably even do a whole entire discussion on like
we're gonna do a podcast on just meditation.
Just on meditation, yeah.
Yeah.
But putting yourself through like something incredibly difficult like this, where your brain wanders, you want to scratch, your leg starts like hurting, or you want to move it, and putting yourself through something that like is both difficult, unstimulating, and like uninteresting. It's like an hour goes by, you hear your alarm go off, and
it's your alarm is your favorite thing in the world at that point.
Exactly, and it's like. It's such an interesting feeling. It's like it's almost a feeling that like I don't know if I'd felt like that in like basically my entire adult life, where like I didn't feel the need to like almost like turn on my phone or like do something after, because like just an hour goes by where you have your eyes closed, you open your eyes, you're like, wow, thank God
the world exists.
Thank God I have eyes, and like I can see this stuff. This is awesome. It definitely I feel like has changed my life in the last little while, and I've been quite consistent with it now, and I don't foresee this being something I ever would want to slow down. And given the way that society is progressing, and like if we just take like a 10-year like look into the future, where like say like a lot of these big tech CEOs and such are right, where like we have like robots doing a lot of these like mundane tasks, and we have AI doing a lot of our mundane work on the computer, and yes, it's great that it frees us up to do some like more complex things and some more interesting things, but as I mentioned, it does also potentially open up it opens up our ability to like either dive incredibly more deep into this like super high stimulating short-term content, like distract yourself at 24/7 through the day, or it gives you the opportunity to really start taking like your mental health seriously and taking your physical health seriously and like putting yourself into a
It's just doing the
situation.
things that you've always wanted to do in the
Exactly.
way that you wanted to do it. And also, most importantly for me is like your inner experience of your day to day is peace. Like you become fully at peace with whatever's happening in your life. Like I don't think we need sustainable abundance for us to get to that state, but once we get to that future, it's going to be very important because everybody's going to be like, what do we do? Like we're going to lose our minds, you know? But you actually don't need to do anything. You can literally walk outside and be fully fine. And yeah, you might think we're like spiritual like quacks or whatever, but I can tell you before my meditation experience, I was never actually able to meditate for more than 2 minutes, and my mind.
Or don't even call it meditation, just like basically sit in your
I
thoughts.
couldn't sit still for more than 2 minutes. I had chronic anxiety, chronic depression. A psychiatrist for like 5 years, was on multiple antidepressants for a decade. Had therapy for many years. My mind, when I closed my eyes or when I was left alone for more than 30 seconds, would go crazy. Like there's no other way to like explain it apart from like just like completely like go off the rails thinking about random stuff. And after the meditation, it's I'm not gonna say it's all gone, but like 90% of it has quietened down to this just feeling of contentness, equanimity, peace, whatever it might be. And the important thing that I want to say is this persists whether or not shit is going well in your life or not well in your life. Like you could be having the worst day in your life, but your mind doesn't need to be taking on this roller coaster emotional ride that that you genuinely go on, like that I used to go on all the time. That you don't need to live in that state is what I'm trying to say. And that's where peace is very important. Like finding peace is that's why it's the second part of this whole thing that we want.
The first part.
The first part.
It's the most
Fuck the AI. The first part is finding peace. Yeah.
So I think I honestly think this is a good place to
It's a good summary of what we're trying to do here.
Yeah. And
So, yeah.
so what you can expect here is really us sharing our experiences, sharing our commentary on the type of technology that we're seeing, the new technology that's being released,
Yeah.
new interviews that are happening, like at the highest level in world economic forums and such.
Some geopolitics maybe if we get it into the space.
Yeah.
We might have some guests on, we might not. Like this is not our full-time job, first of all. So like this is not gonna be a business. We're not gonna charge you for shit. We simply want to share important messages with you about what we're trying to do. And if you're interested in listening, listen. If you're not interested, then don't listen.
Yeah. and we'll go through new technology because both of us keep up, I think, incredibly well with the new releases of technology. We're constantly building with this technology. So it's something that like we can comment on like our experience on where things are improving, where things are like still struggling behind and where you can take advantage of this technology.
Yeah.
And then, as we said, like also focusing on how do you like live in peace in an environment like this. And comment on basically the most interesting time in the world as two friends.
I mean, I completely agree. If I was to summarize it in one sentence, it would be like, how do you like find some peace in your life and also just use AI in a way to get abundance yourself? Like that's kind of like my two things.
Cool. All right. Thanks for listening.